Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Revelations. I am David Szafranski, your host. It's with sad news that I have to report that my stint at Moody Radio, which was 20 plus years, is over. As you know by now, the morning show in Cleveland got canceled. And what they did is there's still a morning show there, but it's a national morning show and it's coming out of Chicago. And what I would tell you is give Carl Clausen a chance. He's a nice guy. I've met him before, briefly, and it seems like the show has a lot of energy. They made a business decision versus a ministry decision, in my opinion. But I'm praying that it works, and I'm praying that they get the traction that they want, and things will go well for the morning show. So we want it to work. We want people to come to Christ, and that's very important. So you won't hear me on Thursday mornings anymore, but what you will hear is you'll hear me on this podcast, Financial Revelations, and we're gonna continue to put out a podcast every week because we have a lot of listeners. And you're going to hear me on other aspects of Cleveland media. So I have a lot of relationships in media. I've been involved in it for 20, well, since 1994. So that's over 30 years I've been involved in media, and I enjoy doing media. It's my alter ego. It's where I can yell, Chair Powell, and people think it's funny. When I do that in Costco, people think I'm weird. So that's going to continue to happen. Financial Revelations is not going anywhere. The other thing that I want to remind you of, there's two things, is that Sin of Retirement, sinofretirement.com is the website, and that website is up and you can pre-order the book, which will be out at the end of July. And there's also going to be merchandise there uh, for purchase. And there'll be a hat that says, Buy the Chaos. And if you followed my advice this year or any time in the past, I have to say with humility, we have made you a lot of money. And the reason why people come to me is because they want to make money. They want to take the money that they have and they want to use it wisely. They want to be able to give more away. They want it to work for them. And what we do here is we take the pressure off of you to make financial decisions uh, with regards to what to invest in. We do that. And so as we do that, as we make those decisions for you, they're probably not the decisions you would make, uh, or you wouldn't need us. So when people call me and say things like, hey, why aren't you investing my money? Or hey, why did you buy that? In my head, I don't always say this out loud, but in my head, I'm thinking if you were that good at this, you wouldn't need me. So we've created tons of wealth. And what I'm going to do over time as I get back into different forms of media is we're going to start meeting again. We're going to start doing the workshops again over time, and bringing people together, allowing some personal interaction, which I do like. I just don't like all the work leading up to it. So that's why I have Corey and Melissa, because I don't know if they like it either, but that's what I have them do. So we're going to be doing that, but sinofretirement.com, sinofretirement.com. It'll all be probably running beneath me here in green. And I know we're doing it from a different location today. I'm actually sitting at my desk today doing the podcast because of just timing and everything. But I really like how the Zoom works. The Zoom website is really good. We did this on Zoom and recorded it from the middle of the Amazon with the Starlink. So we know it works and it's really good. Between Zoom and Starlink and Elon Musk and all the technology that we have today, I think we'll be doing podcasts from Mars soon if Elon Musk has his way. And he's out of government now, so he's back into the private sector. It's a good thing for both the government. He really deserves the Medal of Freedom, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, for the things that he's done. Just regardless of Doge. I mean, if you take out Doge and hopefully the cost savings that will get implemented from Doge, and these are going to take a long time, and some of them get implemented at the end of the year when budgets are not spent and the money comes back. the government, the way the government works, we should all be incensed by it because they're wasting our money. And it's really troubling to see that how mad people were because their pet projects weren't getting funded. For instance, Stacey Abrams, the who claimed she was the governor of Georgia, lost 2 times. Well, she got really smart. I mean, she's not a dumb person. She can't win an election, but that doesn't make you dumb. It just makes you not as popular. But she got really smart and she set up an environmental cause and was about to get awarded $2 billion for this environmental fund that she had. She never run an environmental fund before, but she was going to get $2 billion. And I can't say this for certain, but I feel confident in saying not all that money was going to go to the environment. Some of it was going to go to pay her salary, which would have been several $1 million a year. And that's what happens in government. They were talking about how the Treasury just sent out payments. They never stopped sending. They never questioned the payment. Had I known that, I would have set up an environmental fund a long time ago and paid myself $1.9 billion to be the president of that environmental fund. And see, I would have spent some money on the environment because I want to drink clean water too. I'm a conservative Republican. I don't want dirty water for anybody. I don't know why people think that is true, but it's not. We breathe the air just like you breathe the air. So if you have accused conservatives of wanting dirty air and water, just remember we're breathing it and we're drinking it too. So stay tuned, stay engaged with the podcast. You can call here at any time. You can email here. All those things will be running below. But if not, because we're on Zoom today, the phone number is 1-800-344-2534. And you can email Corey at epsf.com. You can meet with us. We can review your finances. Never have to work with us. There's no charges to sit down with us. I do want to talk about some economic news, and there is economic news. And just this morning, the inflation report came out, and it was very tame. It was 2.1% from 2.8% last month. And that is definitely headed in the right direction. I mean, I believe that it's in everybody's best interest if we have inflation sub 2%. Now, the 2% number, this 2% number that we came up with was really in 1988 from Norway. I don't know how they came up with the 2% number. I understand economically why it makes sense because inflation is kind of the grease that keeps economic activity rolling. You think about your house. This is the best example that I can come up with. You buy your house, it inflates over the next couple of years. You go to sell your house and it's worth more. Okay. Now it may be some real dollars where your house is more valuable. Maybe it's the location, maybe it's a supply and demand issue, which is what we have right now. But there is some inflation in there. And I want you to think about if we had the opposite of inflation, which is deflation. So prices are going down. So you bought your house, you go to sell it a few years later, and it's worth less than what you paid for it. And now you have to go to the bank with a check to get out of your house. No one's going to do that. It would grind the economy to a halt. And that's why we settled on some inflation as being okay. Because the alternative is not okay. And even if, let's say, through some magic economic wand that some economic wizard had, it's not Jared Powell, I can tell you that. They said, well, we're going to create zero inflation. Also, the economy grinds to a halt because people want to make money off their house. So you would see housing really slow down dramatically. And that's why we've settled on some inflation. It is the grease that keeps the economy moving. Now, in Joe Biden's economy, where we had runaway inflation, that's an aberration of economics. We don't want that. You could have won in that scenario. For instance, if you were one of our investors, you won because markets went up. If you were a homeowner, you won because housing markets went up. If you are a renter that doesn't invest and you're low income, you got hammered in inflation. It hurt. Inflation does hurt the people that are least able to afford it the most. That's who it hurts the most. It hurts the poor. So as the Democrats and the Biden administration, it wasn't Joe Biden because he wasn't running the country. I am certain of that. That is the biggest scandal in presidential politics in history. That we had a president that was unable to run the government, but yet pardons happened, bills got signed, all these things happened. So that we don't want 9% inflation. That does hurt a lot of people. Even when you own a house, even when you own stocks. And we talked about the price of eggs a lot here, but I mean, that's just one small part of the economic picture because everything was going up in price. So if your income didn't go up commensurately, you were losing purchasing power. And that happened to a lot of people. So 2% or less, somewhere right around there, we could take that. And the president did meet with the Federal Reserve chairman yesterday, Chair Powell. And I would have loved to have been in that room. I don't need to say anything. I just need to listen. And I learn a lot. I often remind myself of this acronym, WAIT, the word WAIT, WAIT, and it stands for why am I talking? Why am I talking? And I've learned the most when I just listen. And so in a lot of meetings, when somebody's talking, I just listen. Let's have it. Get some diarrhea of the mouth. Share your wisdom with me. I want to hear that. So inflation's tame. I do see rate cuts coming. I think there's going to be 3 rate cuts this year. And then this morning I woke up to, and I'm just going to rifle through these things. I woke up to more chaos, more trade chaos, accusing the Chinese of violating the agreement. There's more chaos. Buy the chaos. Buy chaos. Now there's not enough chaos today. I'm looking over to the left because my computer's right there and I have my quotes running. But we want to buy the chaos. We want to buy when there's blood in the streets. And certainly the environment around trade right now is chaotic. And that is really good for long-term investors. So people say, well, don't you feel bad taking advantage of people who are trying to get out? I'm not taking advantage of anybody. Nobody's forcing anybody to sell their shares in companies at lower prices. They do that. That's how the investors are extremely emotional. Even big investors are extremely emotional. And, one of the things I think that has helped me and really helped me succeed is that I am not emotional when it comes to money, and I'm not emotional when it comes to your money. And really what I want to do is I want to allow those other people to be emotional and get all caught up in the things that are going on in the marketplace and why the market must go down. And then I want to buy it and hold it. And one of my favorite things that Warren Buffett ever said was, my favorite holding period is forever. I love to hold things for long periods of time and make a lot of money off of them. So buy the trade cap, buy the trade chaos, buy the market chaos, buy the political chaos. These are the things that we buy. And what do you buy? You buy the best companies that the world has to offer. They all happen to be American companies, by the way. They all happen to be American companies. I used to say we're the cleanest dirty shirt in the laundry, meaning that everybody we had problems, but we were the cleanest one out of all those. We had the least amount of problems. I think I might stop saying that because I think we're just the best shirt in the laundry, bar none. There's nobody that has an economy as diversified as ours, as strong as ours. And look at this is what's going on is extraordinary. And I'm telling you, capitalism is about to win big time because these all the things that I told you about, the schedule that I put you on for trade talk, tariff talk to really be over by mid-June or so, we're ahead of schedule. All those things are going to happen. There is a tax bill that got passed through the House that's going to the Senate. It will be changed. I think it'll actually get better. There'll be more cost savings in it. I like that. I am a debt hawk in this sense. What we have is too much, but the world needs our debt. So we're going to have $18 trillion of debt. And that's an acceptable amount. I know people say, well, my house, we don't have debt. Well, this isn't your house. This is the government and it works different. Just like businesses, their budgets are different. I look at a business budget very differently than a personal budget. And there's reasons for that. And the government budget is also very different. The reason we're the world's reserve currency is because we allow people to carry our debt. So that's not going to change. But going into the end of the year, you're going to see capitalism winning big time, and you better be invested in the things that I'm pointing to right now if you want to be part of that. If you're waiting for the market to drop, 20%, I just don't see that happening. So on chaotic days, when days are down, that's when you buy. And trade is really headed in the right direction. We threatened the EU, we threatened the EU with 50% tariffs. The phones rang. Trump and the trade representatives were unsatisfied with the pace of negotiation. We're changing it. We're going to ratchet up the heat. They know what they're doing. I really do believe that. If they didn't, I would also tell you that. Look, I am a partisan. There's no doubt I'm a partisan when it comes to politics. But I also don't like stupid things. And if we're doing stupid things, I'm going to call them out, even though I love these guys. And I didn't like the last team that we had. I thought that they were economic morons, and they cost us a lot of time, effort, and money. It's all about, and I'm sure a lot of politics works this way, but it's generally not as in your face as they were, where your buddies are getting paid and everybody's getting rich. I want people to get rich, but I want them to do it honestly. I want them to develop products and use the free market and be capitalists. If you could be in a world where you could be anything, be a free market capitalist. And I do think interest rates are probably headed down. Now, I know I've been saying this all year and it's almost June, but I think rates are headed down. I think the Federal Reserve Chairman, maybe not in June, but I think there's 3 rate cuts coming. And I do think if the Senate constructs a bill that could be passed by both houses, by both chambers, and there's sufficient cost savings in there, and we can articulate these things, I think interest rates come down, housing comes down. Housing, the rates climbed, the 30-year mortgage is 7% plus. Initially, it doesn't have a big impact, but these things wear on people over time. And the economic identity, the economic vision for people starts to change because costs are really high. And that does have an effect, and it will slow down the housing market. And it's probably happening in some areas right now, although I know I'm looking at housing sales in my little city of Vermillion, Ohio, and I'm seeing some extraordinary prices. So that's still going on. But these things are happening. We are headed in the right direction. The market has been extremely resilient through all of this chaos. And the reason why I tell people to buy the chaos is because the minute the chaos stops, markets skyrocket. And that's going to continue to happen. Look, you got to hear me now and believe me later. You got to have confidence in that we're on the same team here. When you make money, we make money. Okay, if I thought we should get out of the market, I would tell you those things. And even if I thought we were having a bad year, I probably wouldn't tell you to get out of the market because about 81% of the time markets are up. So it's a winning proposition. All we got to do is pick some really good companies and then hold on to them. And that's what we do here. We were in Palantir at $2. Palantir is in the 120s and probably going to 200. I don't know when, and I don't know if it'll be right now. But these are companies that I love. They're quintessential American companies that are the best run companies, not just now, not just in America, but ever. Ever. We have more information. We have more technology. We have more information. I could pull up research on my computer right now that would be thousands of pages deep. We never even have time to read it. So now it isn't, where do I get the information? I know where to get that. It's what information is pertinent. If I'm drinking through a fire hose, how do I decide what's pertinent to us? And that's what we do. So listen, stay tuned. We're not going anywhere. We're here. We're going to stay here. I am David Szafranski, a true red-blooded patriot, a real American, and the voice you can trust.